Hey everybody, I did not cause major flooding in Poland, Slovenia, Romania, and Austria at all, including Czech Republic from Franktown.
Well, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, Frankie's got the weather we got. Wait a minute. Well, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, Frankie's got the weather, whether or not. There it is.
Well, hello everybody. This is Comedeorological Report. I'm Joey Only, your host out here in Wells, British Columbia. It's your show about how much the weather sucks in Canada. And I'm here with, once again, the panel of Comedeorologists with the number one world's weatherman. That's Frankie McDonald. He'll be with us here in a couple minutes' time. You're listening to us on CFR 88.7 FM in Prince George, CKUW 95.9 in Winnipeg, and CFBX 92.5 Kamloops. And also, maybe you will be watching us on Rogers Television, Vancouver Island outlets. Yes, or on the live stream here in Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel, Thursdays at 7 p.m. Or maybe you are listening to us on Spotify or any of the other places where you can hear a podcast. We're available on all of them right now. So there you go. That's the show. Without much further ado, let's talk about who's here tonight. Of course, Brandon Houck down in Brooks, Alberta. He's our radio weatherman. He's with us as per usual. We got meteorologist Mark Ingalls down in Surrey, British Columbia with us. And I do think Michael McGregor is here from Weather Center, Manitoba as well. So going to be a night of talking about, we do have some tornado watches going on, still ongoing at this hour in Northern Ontario. It's Thursday, the September 19th. It's exactly 1 year since my friend Kenny and coworker and his crew, Blaine and Jackson and Damien, died in a vehicle accident coming home from a fire. So dedicate this show to the friends and family and everyone involved with those people. Without much further ado, let's move on to the world's greatest weatherman, Frankie McDonald. How you doing so far, buddy?
Be prepared! I'm doing great so far. The weather all across the eastern United States and Canada. Then it got cooler air in Nova Scotia this Friday coming up. Then it got lots of rain in Massachusetts and New York and all these places in New Jersey. Lots of rain in the forecast in the eastern United States of America this weekend coming. Then it's going to be lots of rain in Manitoba as well. In Saskatchewan, it got cold air and warm air fighting each other up in Alberta, Brooks, Alberta. Then it's supposed to be turning really hot in west coast of Canada. And then next week some point, they got cooler air in Los Angeles right now, in San Francisco and Sacramento, all those places right now. Right now, they got cooler air in Southern California. It's an odd weather pattern.
It is an odd weather pattern. It's a
then it got really hot weather in Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas right now. In Florida, lots of rain in the forecast in Florida. Then it got some showers in Vancouver Island this weekend coming. They got warm air, cold air fighting each other all across the United States and Canada. And weather all across Central America. Lots of rain, thunderstorms going on in Central America right now. Like Guatemala all the way down to Panama, El Salvador, and all those places. And the weather down South America. Lots of rain, thunderstorms in Venezuela, Colombia. And it's really dry and a little bit of showers in the Amazon rainforest in Brazil right now. There's a big storms coming off of east coast of Argentina. It's lots of rain, thunderstorms going on in Bolivia and parts of Ecuador. And Peru is really dry there. And northern Chile is really, really dry. And up around the central and southern Chile, lots of rain in Santiago, Chile. And snow up in the mountains. And rain in the south coast of Chile. Snow up in the mountains in southern Chile. It's really cold down southern tip of Argentina right now. It's really cold there in southern Argentina. They got snow in the forecast in Ushio and Argentina and all those places. And lots of storm systems coming off the coast of Argentina, heading towards Antarctica. And they get powerful winds and things like this. Off the coast of Falkland Islands. And they got snow there. And weather all across Europe in the United Kingdom. Lots of warm air in the United Kingdom. We got showers in the forecast of England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland next week. Then they got lots of showers and rain in the forecast and thunderstorms in France, including Spain, Portugal, up and down in Italy. Lots of thunderstorms. And they got some really dry weather in the forecast in Italy, including showers in the forecast in Croatia and Bosnia and Balkan countries. And over in Germany, they got dry weather before it rains next week in Germany and Poland and Finland, Sweden and Norway and all those places. Moscow, Russia is really dry right now. Lots of rain in the forecast in southern Japan and Sapporo, Japan. Then they got a heavy rain in the forecast in South Korea. It's going to bring a whole lot of rain in South Korea and all those places. And Pyongyang, North Korea, and Vladivostok, Russia. Lots of rain and thunderstorms in the Philippines right now in southern China, including Hong Kong. Lots of rain and thunderstorms going on in the Philippines, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, and all those places. And Myanmar, Bangladesh, and India. India's monsoon season's coming to an end. And still some thunderstorms and rain in India right now. And Bangladesh and Myanmar and Sri Lanka. India is soon be entering a dry season. It's really dry up in the Middle East right now, including Saudi Arabia and all those places. There's lots of rain and thunderstorms going on in Nigeria and Ghana and all those places. They get rain and thunderstorms in the forecast in Algeria, Morocco, and parts of Libya. Lots of rain and thunderstorms in the forecast in Ghana, Central African Republic, and Nigeria, Senegal, and Mozambique and Madagascar will be in a rainy season a couple of months away. There's reports have been heavy snow in eastern South Africa. It's really cold in Cape Town, South Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa. It's really cold there right now. It's really cold in South Africa. They got snow in the forecast in eastern South Africa because their southern hemisphere spring starts on September 22nd. Then they got some really hot weather in Botswana right now, including Mozambique and Madagascar and Angola. It's still in a rainy season. And Namibia is really, really dry right now. La Reunion and Mauritius Islands right now it's hot and dry. It's still in a rainy season. Lots of cold weather and snow in the forecast up in Queenstown, New Zealand. Lots of rain and wind going on in coast areas of New Zealand, including Invercargill, New Zealand. As the rain on, they got parts of cold weather in parts of southeastern Australia and the rest of Australia. Perth, Australia is really dry right now and warm. Then they got some rain in central Australia right now. There'll be a large hail season in Australia. September and October, there'll be their severe weather season. Their time springs ahead on October the 5th and the 6th. And Antarctica is 24-hour. Antarctica should be getting 12-hour daylight on September 22nd. And up the Arctic will be 12-hour daylight, 12-hour darkness up in the Arctic because days are getting shorter there.
So, Frankie, what would you say was the biggest weather story this year in Sydney, Nova Scotia, or Nova Scotia in general?
Biggest snowstorm in Sydney, Nova Scotia back on February 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 2024. Sydney, Nova Scotia had 150 centimeters of snow. The biggest weather in Los Angeles this year is big rainstorm with 150 plus millimeters of rain in greater Los Angeles. Around the same time as Sydney, Nova Scotia, a massive snowstorm all at once.
What about this summer, though, Frankie? Now that summer's coming to an end, we're looking back at this summer a little bit.
At the Sydney Rib Fest, it was so hot at the Rib Fest this year. A lot of people didn't stay at the Rib Fest because it's so hot in Sydney, Nova Scotia at that time. Then it was so much rain and opening ceremonies of the Paris 2024 Olympics.
Right now, there's a really good-looking thunderstorm that's moving through northern Ontario, Frankie. If people are watching the live stream, we know people near the Ojibwe Nation of Saugeen, Savant Lake, places like that in northwestern Ontario. They could be looking at some 90-kilometer-hour winds going on up there, some pretty damaging winds. That can do some stuff to you, right? So, and that's also in Ignis down there on Highway 17. So some very strong thunderstorms going on right now, Frankie. Still, tornado watches all day today up in northern Ontario. What do you think of that, bud?
It's really bad. You got to watch out for large hail.
Yeah, there was some large hail there today, too, and out in Minnesota as well. And there was a tornado yesterday, Frankie, in Saskatchewan, in Langbank.
That means you got to watch out for large hail that can break car windows.
Anybody on the panel here have a question for Frankie McDonald?
What do you prefer, heavy rain or heavy snow?
Neither of them. None of
you don't like either of them?
What is your favorite temperature? What is a perfect temperature?
180 degrees.
What if you had to just choose one or the other, though, Frankie? You didn't have a choice.
A lot of people choose heavy rain because they have to get somewhere and things like this. Heavy snow can shut everything down.
Yeah, I've seen heavy snow shut down stuff down. One time we got like 20 centimeters of snow in Portland, and we were forecast to have cold rain, and it took my coworkers 2 hours to drive 5 kilometers.
20 centimeters of snow. That's an average day in Wells.
What's your favorite season of the year? Summer, winter, or fall?
All of them.
If you had
Frankie
to pick
loves
one for the entire year, what would you pick?
In between.
Frankie would pick in between if he could have his choice of favorite season. He loves the in between.
Spring and fall. I like it, Frankie.
Well, he didn't
Good
say spring
choice.
and fall. He said in between.
What does he mean by in between?
Well, that means in between summer and fall.
Summer and winter. In between summer and winter.
Okay, he did say fall then. Brandon, you got a question for Frankie? I know you do.
Oh, do I? Do I? Now, Frankie, have you heard about the new mini moon?
I heard it a long time ago. It's going to be temporary moon.
Yes, for the next 2 months here.
Yeah.
There's a brand new moon. There's also a comet that's going on, Frankie. You know anything about that?
Lots of going around in space.
There's a big comet going by the Earth right now, and Northern Lights possible again on Friday night. Okay, Frankie. Well, we got some videos lined up this week. Frankie McDonald videos, and I can't wait for them because these ones are fabulous. These ones they're nominated for an Oscar. That's how good some of these are. So, Frankie McDonald, the world's famous weatherman, he's got almost 300,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel now. So, congratulations, Frankie. You're awesome. I like your new haircut, bud.
Plus, I sent you my South Africa forecast.
Yeah, that's definitely on the videos for tonight.
And another forecast, heavy rain to hit Medicine Hat, Alberta. That's another thing.
Oh, yes, I do. That's the first one. That was for Wednesday. Did you get your forecast right?
Yes, for Medicine Hat.
I believe you. We'll watch that in a little while.
Okay, the GDPS is spitting out a hurricane over the tropics by 240 hours from now, and it'll be impacting the Plains States moving up into southern prairies, which is unusual. But something we can discuss after Frankie's videos if you want. I don't know. What
I'll discuss that a little bit. I've got some thoughts on that. We were dealing with that at work.
Let's go to the Brandon Hauk report.
Could you say that any slower? Wow. That's an entrance. Wow. Wow. And he makes the save for the catches the ball, the foul ball. There we go. That's what Joey just did.
The Brandon Hauk Report.
Oh, hi. This is the Brandon Hauk Report.
So,
What do you got for us this week, Brandon Hauk?
what do we have? What do we have? What do we have? What do we have? Well, an interesting weather setup. We were cool once towards the end of last week, and we warmed up nicely for the weekend. And then we got a couple of thunderstorms. I'd say, well, actually, on Monday night, we had the Aurora Borealis. And that was, well, the nice thing about this very short show, because I have a early morning, is I got to go out there. It wasn't very impressive at first. And then all of a sudden, blew up, lit up, and bam, it was awesome. I should send the video, actually, because I got a video of the Aurora Borealis, and it was pretty awesome. So I'll do that. And then, yeah, that was awesome. And then it lasted for like 10 minutes, and then it just went, poof, see ya. Okay, I guess I could go to bed. And I did Monday night. And then Tuesday, we had some active weather kind of push through the area. Oh, yeah. Some thunderstorm activity. Actually, this happened early Tuesday morning. So like 7 a.m., we had severe thunderstorms ramping up in, it started off very clear, and then thunderstorm just exploded at Bow Island and then moved its way west-northwest and produced a significant amount of rain in some areas. So another 10 to 20 millimeters, which isn't that significant, even though we had 80 millimeters last week in the area. And so thundering, torrential downpour, and then the sun came out late in the afternoon. So that was pretty awesome on Tuesday there. And then we had a couple more strong thunderstorms in Saskatchewan that day. And then yesterday we had that tornado touchdown at Langbank there in Saskatchewan. So the severe weather situation continued, and southern Manitoba had quite the severe weather as well. I believe right through the Brandon area and down towards the south, just continuous frequent lightning and oh my goodness. So it feels like the middle of summer there. That was last night across the southern prairies. So that active weather scenario moved off towards the eastern prairies with this fairly extensive area of low pressure. And looks like at least 80 millimeters of rain fell yesterday at Cypress Hills Interprovincial Park there just outside of Maple Creek, Saskatchewan. So yeah, it was active week. No doubt across the prairies with cooling, warming up again today. And now we're going to see we've got another system moving in, and that has triggered some thunderstorms moving into the Red Deer area. These thunderstorms are going to slide kind of southeast overnight tonight, which is the 19th of September. It's going to pass through the Calgary area and eventually get down towards Brooks just before midnight tonight. And then we will anticipate to see, a cooler day tomorrow, like a 10-degree drop for tomorrow. So daytime highs will be like 12 degrees. That's it for tomorrow, and rain and a gusty wind to go along with it. So that probably means I have to wear pants tomorrow. And then I can take those pants off by the weekend and into early next week. And then we'll see the temperatures recover into the low 20s. So yeah, we'll see some hints of fall here and there, and then get back into low 20s above average, and then kind of do that kind of bouncing around there on the weather front of things in the next few days. Now, I also found out this week that there's the distillery in Newfoundland. That's right. And they are pretty much going out there at Harbor Grace, Newfoundland. And that area is very, very foggy, you know, and they're going out there with bottles and trying to capture fog. And they take that fog. This is really cool what I've found out this week. They take that fog, they condense it into water, and they make vodka out of it. So you get a fog in your drink, and it's a kind of vodka kind of drink. So I thought that was kind of cool. And there's a Python challenge where they removed, in Florida, 195 invasive Burmese pythons this week. So those are some cool things. Oh, I also found out that space smells like Metella or sweat. There we go. So that's what space smells like. If you ever wanted to know what space smelled like.
Space smells like sweat.
Yeah.
Well, good evening. Aurora Borealis show. It's on. Look at this. Wow. Okay, this is just awesome. Incredible. Aurora Borealis.
It's amazing how good your
Just
camera
to
picked that
the
up.
west of Brooks here. Wow. This just lit right up.
Good one, Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how you actually got video of it. That's something I've been
I know,
trying to
I didn't.
How do you get a video of Northern Lights? And nothing I do, it just looks like a black screen.
I guess this phone has a good camera on it.
What
I
kind
guess.
of phone is that? Like
iPhone X.
what?
One of the higher ends ones.
I had an iPhone, it wouldn't do that.
You had the wrong iPhone.
I guess so. I don't have an iPhone anymore. Well, I have one. It's just
Oh.
not my main thing anymore now. I
Oh,
have
okay.
another thing that's my thing. Anyone got a question for Brandon Hauk?
Yeah, Brandon, when are the Northern Lights going to hit my house?
Maybe Friday. Maybe. If you're
And
lucky.
a follow-up, how do we stop the U.S. government from using HARP to create the Northern Lights?
How do you stop that? Just keep them south of the border, probably. Maybe that
Well,
might be
it's in
best.
HARP is in Alaska.
Oh, Alaska. Oh, right,
And
Alaska.
a couple of months away, it'll be last sunset up above the Arctic Circle in Barrow, Alaska, around November 19th.
You're a weather nerd and you don't even know about the Harpon conspiracies?
Oh, I
So
know.
HARP is for those who may not know, it's some sort of radio research facility up in Alaska, and the conspiracy theorists are all like, oh, anytime like the Northern Lights are really cool, or like some sign of climate change, they're like, oh, the government's running it. It's worse than chemtrails.
You can go to the University of Alaska and take part. You actually go to the open houses they have sometimes. You know, it's not some big conspiracy. They study the Northern Lights. That's what they're not causing it. They're studying it. A very big difference.
You're right. Even in my bank account here, I just got the fat check for pushing that agenda. It says here, HARP, climate change, whatever, in my bank account. No, I wish. If I was getting paid
You
for
get
that,
yours
you'd
from a
think
federal program. I get mine from the province of British Columbia.
That's funny.
It's 4:22 in the morning in Paris, France.
4:20 in the morning, Paris, France. Yeah, people are just going to bed now.
People are sleeping in Paris.
Never sleeps that place, I heard.
Except morning radio hosts are up.
And Base Guy's best friend, Stevan, he lives in Slovakia. It's 4:22 in the morning where he's at.
They do sleep in Slovakia.
My
That's
wife
a-
was not impressed with Slovakia when she went there.
That's where
Well,
Base Guy's best friend, Stevan, he lives there.
Sounds like a wonderful dish. Like I would totally eat that. I'd take a double helping of Slovakia right now.
Put some maple mustard on it.
Thanks for the wonderful report. No one's got questions for you.
Yeah, Brandon, is this second moon going to be visible? Am I going to be able to see another moon mooning us?
I'll show you a second moon.
No, you won't be able to see the second moon, sadly. So, just got to look at the only moon that we have, I guess. Well, yeah.
So what's the whole point of them calling it a second moon then?
It's pretty tiny.
I think it's just
Smoking good barbecue.
it's just clickbait.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. This sort of thing happens pretty regularly, like every couple of years.
What, clickbait?
Why not both? Clickbait
Yeah.
and
Every couple of
and
years I notice
new
something
moons.
I'd say that's definitely clickbait. Every couple of years. Okay, Mark, meteorologist Mark Engels. How you doing?
Hello. Good. I sent you some pictures for you to put up so I could flex on everyone.
Oh, I thought you were going to put those up. Okay, I can.
Well, I was going to, but I don't really know how to do it on the Mac. I haven't really explored that yet, so I don't know how to do it without having like all the extra screen stuff. Like I don't need people seeing my phone number and stuff like that. So I'll have you pull it up. Yeah, my phone number. It starts with.
What's your phone number?
Yeah, it's 8675309. So I went on a boat trip on last Saturday. A friend of mine invited my family to go from Point Roberts, Washington, down to Pattis Island. That's in the San Juan Islands. San Juan County in Washington is unique that you have to take a ferry to get to it.
Is that what that is right there? Is the ferry?
That's a ferry going to Vancouver Island, actually. So while we were coming back, this mesocyclone came off Vancouver Island over the Strait of Georgia. And so I got this picture of it. I got to see a nice cloud to water lightning strike. When we got into Point Roberts, it was rolling thunder. It was pretty awesome. I got to pilot the boat for like 15 nautical miles. That was awesome. I found a geocache. And I had to I had to walk across a log. I have a couple more pictures here if you want to rifle through them.
I was still so mesmerized by this.
I know, this was pretty awesome.
That's a great
Unfortunately, it died. We went, after getting off the boat, we went to a park in Point Roberts on the water to watch it, and it died. So here's me piloting the boat with my co-pilot daughter. And for those who can't see, I'm piloting a boat on the Puget Sound. And there's the thunderstorms in the background. You can see them developing there. This is about 45 minutes before the storm picture. We just hiked around the island. It was really cool. And the boat was great. She lives on this boat. Well, she kind of lives on this boat. She's doing a flotilla up to Deception Sound, maybe somewhere up the BC coast.
Desolation Sound?
Yeah, Desolation Sound. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So she's going to be up there for the next 2 weeks, and that was pretty awesome. I would love to do something like this someday. But I have to, make money and contribute to society first. Talking about this hurricane that may or may not happen that Mike mentioned. So the weather models have been pretty consistently showing a hurricane going into the Gulf of Mexico. This has been on the models for the last couple of days. This is the boat moored, so we had to tie to this mooring ball in between two islands, and then we rode a dinghy to get to the island itself. And we were the only people on the island, which was pretty fantastic. And there's a lighthouse. It was just awesome. I need a boat. But my grandpa says the best day in any man's life is the day you buy a boat, and the second best day is when you sell your boat.
You don't see that much around here, you know. We only have heavy houses here. You had a light house there. I'm really, really trying this week.
That was painful. I'm glad you did it though. So the weather models have been showing this hurricane developing in the Gulf of Mexico, or actually, I think it shows it developing in the Caribbean and moving into the Gulf. But Mike mentioned there is a chance that it runs into Texas and then the remnants go up into the plains and bring some moisture to eastern Canada or maybe the prairies. But you'll have a model run that takes it into like Mexico, south of Texas. And then you'll have a model run that takes it into the Florida Panhandle. And then you'll have a model run that'll run it into Georgia or something off the Atlantic and not even go into the Gulf. So there is a considerable amount of uncertainty with this, and nobody should be freaking out. I want to be very clear. There is a chance that a hurricane goes into the Gulf next week. That's all we know. So like, if you live in hurricane country, you should, it's hurricane season. You should be prepared to take necessary actions, but like, you don't need to freak out and leave. You have a higher chance of this hurricane not hitting you than it hitting you. And there's a chance it doesn't form. This storm system that is forecast to become a hurricane hasn't even developed yet, let alone the hurricane itself. If this happens, I think it'll be like Friday or later, even like next week. It's way too far out to be given specifics. But it's a good chance that we'll see a hurricane somewhere, but nobody knows where. And anyone who tells you where, like, don't listen to them.
Well, that makes me think that everyone should freak out because you have no idea where it is. I'm freaking out right now, man. I'm freaking out.
Yeah. For all those hurricanes that come into Wells, British Columbia. That's right.
It could happen. Climate change. HARPs.
HARPs, yeah. The Aurora Borealis is going to bring the hurricane in. No, we do
think so? You're a meteorologist. You tell us.
Well, we do have an atmospheric river coming into BC, north coast and southeast Alaska. It's going to dump a ton of snow in the coastal mountains north of like Bella Coola or something. And then we'll have modest amounts of snow in northern BC and in Yukon and in the interior highland areas. And the moisture from this atmospheric river is coming all the way from the South China Sea. So there is an unbroken area of moisture that's being pulled by these low pressure systems. And what happens with the cold front is low pressure system will have a cold front following it. But if the low pressure system is moving in a certain way, that front will become stationary. And so all that water gets funneled along that, and that's how you get your atmospheric river. So that's going to be earlier in the week. We kind of thought it may be coming closer to the lower mainland, but there's a high pressure system offshore, and those are pretty hard to break down, especially this time of year. But this is the wettest time of year up in southeast Alaska. Over the next 6 to 8 weeks or so, we'll see these systems slide down. I'm not going to sit here and tell you we're going to get a huge atmospheric river in 6 to 8 weeks in the lower mainland, but our wettest time of year down here is in November. So this
what it
pretty
says
well
to
tracks.
me is that we have this pattern is now in play, right? So this is
Yes.
representative of what we might expect as we come into the fall season, right?
Yes, that's a good point. And we may get some moisture out of this into the rest of British Columbia and even into Washington, because that high being offshore, some of that moisture may wrap around the east side of it and come down further south.
Here's the tornado sound going. Oh, a talking gorilla.
Well, it's a good thing we got Frankie's tornado siren, because next I was going to talk about the polar vortex. Polar vortex has been tossed into the social consciousness because of, clickbait and whatever. But the polar vortex, first of all, always exists in the pole. So like the polar vortex is a low pressure system over right now the South Pole. It develops in the winter. Well, it develops in the fall, lasts through the winter, and this is what drives the jet stream. So it is starting to, in the very early stages of developing at the North Pole. The polar vortex exists primarily in the stratosphere, which is 30 kilometers up into the atmosphere. And we're looking at an unusual heat event in the stratosphere in like Siberia, Alaska, and the Canadian Arctic over the next month or so. And I think, and I'm kind of going out on a limb here, to be honest, but I think this is a signal that we will get stratospheric warming events in January and February, which are what causes big cold snaps to come out of the Arctic into the mid latitudes. In North America, this happens more frequently, like Alberta, Saskatchewan, and then down into the Great Lakes. But we do get some of this into British Columbia every now and then. So I think between La Nina and the situation in the polar stratosphere right now, I think we're in for a pretty active winter across a lot of Canada, not just British Columbia. Hopefully we do get a lot of snow though, because we always need the water. And then in Canadian weather history this week, on September 21, 2018, the Ottawa area got a tornado outbreak. Low pressure system was moving towards the Hudson Bay, and the warm front in front of the low pressure system brought significant amounts of Gulf of Mexico moisture into southern Ontario and southern Quebec. There were 7 tornadoes, 6 in the National Capital Region. The largest was an EF3. 272 customers were without power in the National Capital Region, and nearly $300 million of damage was done in Ontario alone. So that's this week in Canadian weather history. And like Joey mentioned at the start of the podcast, at the start of the show, I'm going to pitch the podcast because he won't remember where everything is. So we are on, as the Comedeorological Report, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, and Amazon Music, or whatever they call it.
You're correct about that. My whole plan for this week's show was to
drunken gorilla goes.
Frankie, what does a gorilla drink to get drunk?
Come on, Mark. Frankie wants to hear your gorilla.
My gorilla? At the Omaha Zoo in Nebraska, they have gorillas, and they're the silverback gorillas. And I went on my church mission, and we're wearing the white shirts and ties and whatever. But we discovered if you turn your back to the gorilla, the like El Jefe gorilla really hates that and will come and pound the glass really hard. So we had a lot of fun going to the zoo and then all turning our backs to the gorilla, and it just would come up like Mach 10 and just ram the window.
Here's the Christmas Day. Feliz Navidad. That's Christmas coming up in December.
Yes, and I see your antlers.
Frankie wants to hear a moose call.
Yeah, let's hear a moose call, Frankie.
That's really good.
That was good. It's a really good moose call.
Mark, you got tornado siren for us? Yeah, all right. Mark, what was your top story of the summer?
Top story of the summer was that really good rain event that we got like end of July, beginning of August, when it was, fall is my favorite season. And so I forget how much it rained, but it was like 2 days straight of just light rain. And I think it was like 18 degrees or something. It was awesome. And I just moved up here. Like, we didn't hit 30 degrees at all this year. I love it. I grew up in Eastern Washington where like in a normal year, you're hitting 42 or 43, and we didn't even hit 30. But that rain event we got midsummer, that was just great. Really just ticked all the boxes and helped me get up to fall.
Mike McGregor, what was the biggest weather story in Manitoba this summer?
It would have to be the tornado outbreak we had in, I believe it was May or June. We had 6 tornadoes in one day. And it would have to be the non-stop thunderstorms when we saw. They had more thunderstorms than, I think, more of them than we did in 1983. We had about 8 recorded days of thunderstorms in Winnipeg, on top of another 8 in July. We had the most, I remember as a kid, experiencing thunderstorms almost every day. And definitely felt like felt like those years. So it's a typical summer, but I have to say that the amount of active weather we've had was on the top charts despite the low tornado count. I think we're at 10 now, so our average is about 8. So I think in general it was active, but I didn't see any tornadoes in my area this summer.
Brandon, what would you say was the weather story of the summer in Alberta?
Well, I'll say a couple of them because there are 2 fairly big events that stand out here in Alberta for the summer. One was the fire in Jasper that caused significant damage there, and I was the guy who was going to go to bed but not go to bed that night because we decided to jump on and pretty much cover the evacuation of Jasper that night. And then a couple weeks later, people are still recovering from that significant wildfire in Jasper, Alberta. From about 30% of the town got lost there. So that's probably one of the biggest ones. The second biggest one was August the 5th when we had a massive supercell move off of the foothills and move into Calgary, which ended up being the costing $1.2 billion in damage, which was estimated about a couple of weeks ago with major hail on the north edge of Calgary. And the same storm took a rip down the Kiwi. Well, actually met up with another storm south of Calgary, a supercell. And those two kind of merged together. And the hail core just passed to the south of me here, but still, what a storm that was. The lightning was just nonstop frequent, and we had significant hail damage to crops on the south side of the county of Newell from about, let's say, Rainier through Rolling Hills Reservoir, south of just north of Rolling Hills itself and just south of Tilly, Alberta there. And then we had a secondary severe thunderstorm that night that moved through the area with strong winds and more lightning, and it was moved so fast that it was just unbelievable night of thunderstorm action. And I think I covered that event right from 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. that night in our area here. So yeah, those are some of the weather highlights that stick out to me for the summer of 2024.
We do have Justin just showing up from Weather Center in Manitoba. I didn't quite finish with Mike either, but we could maybe merge you two a little bit. This week in Manitoba, so much rain in some of those totals down south there, some of those thunderstorms.
Yeah, I was just looking over the information on Julian, JJC Winnipeg Twitter. They said that station has broken the 200 millimeter mark. Alma, north of Hattiesville, recorded 206 millimeters of rain since yesterday, 165 millimeters in 6 hours. And they said that monumental rainfall, apparently it's the wettest that we've seen in September. Normal rainfall is only 50 to 60. So we're talking about triple the monthly normal in less than 24 hours. Justin has more info about some of the flooding that happened. I heard that Justin, I heard you got almost blown over on the road yesterday by a storm.
First of all, hello everyone. I heard
Hey,
y'all
Justin.
talking about HARP, so I figured I'd have to come on and also join the conversation.
We haven't seen you since your new baby arrived, so it's nice to see you.
Yeah, it's nice to see everybody. The baby's doing good, and we're all good. So yeah, I thought I'd come on for a few minutes and just say hi to everybody. So yeah, we've definitely had some flooding across southeastern parts of the province, and yeah, it was we had some thunderstorms, some training thunderstorms. So you know what that means? You get one storm, and then just imagine train tracks, and you got just another train and another train and another train, and it's the same train tracks, the same track, and that's kind of like the storms. A storm would happen, and then there'd be another storm following that exact same track, and yeah, we ended up having over 200 millimeters of rain in some of those areas, as Mike was saying. Yes, I was storm chasing yesterday. Pretty amazing to have supercells mid-September. Started the chase day down in Boissevain, and then we worked our way north towards Shiloh. And in fact, that's the area right around Shiloh, east of Brandon, where we got a big Ford truck and four-wheel drive, and we're getting blown off the road pretty much. And actually, right before I hopped on the show here, one of my friends messaged me because there was a vehicle and we could barely see their tail lights as we were kind of following them down this gravel road chasing the storm, and it's just all hell's breaking loose. There's heavy rain and wind all different directions, and I look at the radar and there's a huge couplet right over where we're at, and it just snuck up on us. We're like, oh shit, like what is going on here? And then all of a sudden we lose the taillights in front of us. And so my friend messaged me and said that they actually ended up swerving off the road and into the ditch. So that's why we lost the taillights of them in front of us. And the same thing almost happened to us. We almost ended up in the ditch too. So I wonder if there was a small twister that may have just kind of spun up out of nowhere there, right around Shiloh, Cottonwoods, Manitoba. So I don't know. I was, maybe going to go drive out that way and see if there's any damage, but never ended up heading that way. But yeah, it could have been a quick spin up. It was pretty outflow by that point, but you get those little notches in those squall lines, and that's kind of what we were looking at there yesterday around Shiloh, Manitoba. And then
I saw a post that the Northern Tornadoes project, they went out to investigate today for storm damage.
They did, yeah. I was hoping that they would stop by the Shiloh area, but I think they went straight west to there was a tornado in Langbank, Saskatchewan, yesterday afternoon. So, but yeah. Anyway, then we started moving back to Brandon, back home, and then another little complex of storms blew up just north of Brandon over Forest, and so myself and we had a new team member Andrew Ham, and then Chase partner there Jamie Freeman. All three of us stopped Forest, Manitoba, north of Brandon. And it was just a barrage of CG lightning strikes, like bolts of lightning like you've never seen before. It was amazing. And so that was a great way to end off mid-September chase. So yeah, we've been having a lot more moisture and it's humid outside, but it hasn't really been super hot. It's been cooler, but it's been nice to see that the grass is turning green again. And I mean, it's pretty typical because the fall time is, that a period where you move from summer into winter, kind of that you're moving away from that summer pattern into the fall pattern. So it gets pretty moist on the eastern prairies. So it's nice to see. But yeah, it's nice to see everybody. And yeah, I'm doing well and the family's doing well. So
I wanted to mention that yesterday we had a thunderstorm. I was talking to some people here in Winnipeg, and they said that it looked like absolute nighttime. All the street lights turn on at noon. At a whale's mouth, go over the city. We got rained on quite hard. Had several close lightning CG strikes, shook our house and shook the car we were in too. And I was actually looking at the humidity data yesterday. Winnipeg Airport reached a dew point temperature of 21 degrees Celsius, the latest date since 1953 for that to occur, beating 2019 by 1 day. It was thanks to a prolonged southerly flow across the U.S. plains. So I've never seen it this warm and humid in September before. We had a thunderstorm here the other night, frequent lightning, and then yesterday we had one try to form south of the city. Didn't get hit by any, but then today we had another thunderstorm all through this afternoon in Winnipeg. So I think it's been a pretty epic storm season for all of us. I'm looking forward to going chasing next year with Justin. I got my driver's license now, so I'm looking forward to what storm season has for winter for the both of us. Because even though we got rain, our grass is starting to turn brown a little bit and help us go into next year. But it's been an incredible year in Manitoba and lots of thunderstorms. I got lots of videos I'll share with you guys, maybe even use it for a future stream. But thanks. It's good to see you guys.
some of that same weather still going through northern Ontario at 7:47 p.m. Through Glitch Lake, St. Raphael Lake, moving at 70 kilometers an hour. The storm, and there's still a tornado watch up there, but more we're talking about straight line winds right now, 100-kilometer-an-hour wind gusts. That includes Maxim Lake, Dorothy Lake, Fry Lake, Blackstone Lake, Dobie Lake. So if you know people in northern Ontario watching the live stream, remind them these storms are not fooling around out there. They could do a lot of damage. The top story in BC. I think in the BC interior, which is my zone of weather watching, is I'd definitely say we had like those 3 weeks of very, very hot and dry weather, of unseasonably the humidity, the humidex values being very, very, very super dry, right? So weather straight out of the desert, more or less, aims coming from the south straight to BC, right? Very, very dry, and then we had the thunderstorm outbreaks that happened amidst that. First, there was the one here in Wells that started the fire, and then a couple weeks go by, the heat continues, persists on. Then we had that cold front go through, and that cold front, the dry cold front was made for spectacular thunderstorms. Potentially could have seen some tornadoes spin up even in the British Columbia interior during that time, and also out south of Grand Prairie, Alberta. Fantastic thunderstorms, and all the fires took off and ran. That included the fire that started in Jasper at that time. So that was really connected to the same weather event that Brandon was talking about, more or less, too, right? The fire in Jasper was all part of that same thing that happened. Okay, Frankie, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready for Frankie videos.
I'm ready for Frankie videos. What about the rest of you? Are you guys all ready for Frank videos? Okay, well, the radio listeners have to look up okay, there you go. Thumbs up. Yep. Radio listeners, we got.
This is Frankie McDonald, my own team station live in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Heavy rain and really strong winds headed towards Medicine Hat, Alberta on Wednesday, September the 18th, 2024. It's going to bring up to 30 plus millimeters of rain in Medicine Hat, Alberta and surrounding areas. It's going to also hit Brooks, Alberta, really strong winds, including Crow's Nest Highway 3 in Medicine Hat and Trans-Canada Highway number 1. Be prepared. Make sure you wear your rain gears. They'll be too windy for umbrella from Medicine Hat, Alberta, and the surrounding areas. Make sure you wear your rain gear. Don't walk through the puddles. Avoid the puddles you go for a walk, including people in Brooks, Alberta, Canada. I want every single person in Medicine Hat, Alberta, to be prepared for heavy rain and very strong winds on Wednesday, September 18, 2024. It's going to bring a lot of rain to Medicine Hat surrounding areas as well. If you have anybody live in Medicine Hat, Alberta, be prepared for heavy rain on Wednesday, September 18, 2024. Take care, stay safe. Don't get caught in heavy rain. Stay dry, be safe. Do a helicopter sound.
Okay, everyone. Come on, Brandon. That's pretty good. Come on, Mike, let's hear it. Where are you, Brandon? Let's hear it.
My helicopter. Here we go.
Oh, Brandon's spinning. That's a physical helicopter. He wants to hear it. Frankie has to hear the helicopter sound, Brandon.
Oh, so I can't act like a helicopter.
I'm Frankie McDonald. Yeah. This is Frankie McDonald, my own team station live in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Heavy snow is headed towards eastern South Africa starting on Thursday, September 19, 2024. It's going to continue until Saturday, September 21st, 2024. It's going to bring a whole lot of snow in eastern South Africa. It's going to bring a lot of snow. It's going to bring a whole lot of snow up in the higher altitude. It's going to bring cold temperatures in Johannesburg, South Africa, and Cape Town, South Africa. It's going to bring really cold temperatures in South Coast of South Africa. It's going to bring a lot of snow up in the mountains in South Africa. I want every single person to dress very warm and be extra prepared. For people living at higher altitudes, make sure you have your shovels, snow scoops, snowblowers, snow plows, and salt trucks ready as well. For people living in South Africa, including up in the higher altitudes in South Africa, up in the mountains, be extra prepared since it's going to bring a lot of snow in South Africa, including higher altitudes in South Africa, in eastern South Africa as well. Since the cold air is coming from Antarctica, that's going to trigger snow up in the mountains in South Africa as well. If you have anybody living in South Africa, be prepared for heavy snow starting on Thursday, September 19, 2024. Take care, stay safe. Don't get caught in heavy snow. Stay warm, be safe.
Here we go. Frankie's going to spin around once again. Okay, that's Brandon. This is what spinning around. There's one difference between acting like a helicopter and sounding like one. That's what we were trying to establish here. This is a video of Frankie spinning. He's now spinning around and spinning around. Frankie, how many times did you spin around, do you think?
Lots of them.
A lot of times.
He
Do
can
you
do
get
both.
dizzy?
He can do it all.
You're still spinning. Do you get dizzy when you act like a helicopter? Do you think you could make a video sometime where you spin and make helicopter sounds at the same time?
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
I'm working on it.
You're working on it.
He's working on
That's
it.
good.
Yeah.
I like the airplane. It goes nice and straight, you know, like that. Or the jet.
That's I've never seen anyone do so many spins. It's like if you're on the Gravitron.
You know what I think we need to get?
Gravitron.
We need to get Frankie a jetpack. So when he does an airplane noise, he flies out.
There he is.
Thanks for watching. I'm Frank Down.
He survived a good spinning. Okay. Last year he promised us. It's Vampire Frankie McDonald.
All you guys had a good Halloween is great this year.
Hope you had a good Halloween last year. It's hard to understand him, but I can.
I'm gonna see how you doing so here.
Okay, I can't anymore.
I hope you had a good Halloween.
Good Halloween. Hope you had a good
And
Halloween.
he's gonna get some hair.
They're going good so far for Dracula Frankie. He's got his Dracula teeth in, radio listener. And he's very scary.
I'll see you in
He'll kill you in 2024, he just said. Coming soon.
Is this where he
Vampire
drinks the
Frankie
tea?
McDonald will return.
And I got something else to say.
And so will Zorka.
Everyone, guess who's back? I am Sortron. I just came back to planet Earth once again just for a little visit. And I've been to Saturn's moon Titan before. I've been to Jupiter's moon Europa before. Sortron is back for a little bit. I've been to planet Pluto. I've been to one of the dwarf planets that used to be a planet. Things are going great so far. Sortron is back. I've been to Mars, moons, Phobos, and Deimos. Things are going great so far. Sortron, I'm back. I'm doing great so far. Sortron has returned to planet Earth for a little bit for Halloween. Sortron is back on Earth for Halloween. Things are going really great so far. Sortron is back on Earth for Halloween. Things are going great so far. I'm doing really well. Things are going great. I've been to other planets and other galaxies, Andromeda Galaxy, M33 Galaxy, things like this. I've been to other galaxies and places like this, like Andromeda Galaxy, Milky Way, other solar systems of Milky Way Galaxy. Things are going great so far. I have to get going now. I got other planets to visit. See you soon. Bye for now.
Yes. Zorton, are you going to visit the mini moon? Are you coming back this Halloween, Zortron?
He will be back.
He will be back. What about you, Brandon? What was your question?
Oh, on the mini moon there. So, but I heard he's going to be back, so that's good. Zortron will be back.
Hey, Brandon, I think you need a Halloween costume this year. You're smoking good barbecue. Yeah.
Oh, yes. The smoking good barbecue. Barbecue. Yes.
You need a costume. You need a costume for that. I want to see it.
Well, I have a chicken costume over here. I don't know if it's good enough for smoking good barbecue.
Well,
that's what I.
Time. It's not Halloween.
I dress up as a hot dog for
A
Halloween.
hot dog. Let me get some good hot dogs out of smoking good barbecue. Smoking good barbecue.
Frankie, what about Vampire Zorton?
He will be back.
Part vampire, part Zortron.
What's it? What the heck is a Zorton? Never heard of Zorton.
I'm the captain of the ship now.
Oh,
Hauk is taken over.
He's going down
right.
with the ship.
We have a couple extra minutes. We got 3 extra minutes tonight of time
3
to
extra
make up.
minutes of dressing up. So that's
go to
what we're doing is
8:03.
playing dress up.
Cuts.
Oh,
There he goes.
But-
Mike
And
is
Trey
falling
Gable's
to
doing
earth
stand-up
just like a
comedy.
comet, just like Zortrin.
I'm gonna dress up as a bicycle safety person for Halloween.
When you put
boy.
that bicycle helmet on, make sure you put it on before you fall.
I think that was perfect timing too. Was getting a bike helmet.
Like, it doesn't do you much good if it's in your hands. Well, it might protect your hands.
Right, yeah. Protected from
Yeah.
scrapes,
It was just perfect timing on that all happened.
well, I don't think I had mentioned my top weather story for Manitoba in 2024 this summer.
You had a tornado that you saw.
Maybe possible tornado.
What do you mean, you maybe saw it?
I think the main story for me was back in the middle of June. The big storm that came into southeastern Saskatchewan, southwestern Manitoba. I was chasing down Pearson, and it was just hauling. It was moving like 120, 130 kilometers an hour. And so, I mean, I chased it up to Pearson, and then it chased me all the way back to Brandon. I may have been going a little over the speed limit, but regardless. And then the very next day, like, it dropped a ton of rain in the southwestern Manitoba area around Brandon. And then the next day, like, the wind was so strong on the backside of that storm and like low pressure system that remember that big dust storm? Like, it was just crazy dust storm south of Brandon the next day. And we're talking about how fast the topsoil can dry out. Like, I think that was the biggest story for me, is seeing like this monster shelf cloud dropping tons of rain. And then not even 10, 12 hours later, like a dust storm couldn't even see like 200 meters down the road. Like, that was just a crazy 24 hours.
And that means there's some dry enough air to really suck the moisture out too, right? Like low humidity.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, we do have one more question from the comments there. I hear, Frankie, that Halloween has been changed. The date for Halloween this year is now going to be on October 32nd.
They're October 31st. That means October 31st is Halloween.
You sure it's
There's
not
no
October 36th this year?
October 31st.
Okay.
There's no such thing as October 32nd.
No such thing as October 32nd in this dimension, you mean?
Oh, by the way, Halloween falls on a Thursday night this year.
Yeah.
Thursday, the 32nd of October.
My top story also, I think at the very top of my list, was almost getting a tornado on my street. Like, we had a rotating wall cloud coming through North Winnipeg. There's some people that posted a wall cloud rotating. And I was like, is this going to be it? And I'm so glad it didn't drop anything because we were not prepared. No one around me was prepared.
You didn't have your helmet
I've never
on.
seen
There's no
anything
such
like
thing
that.
as October 33rd either.
No such thing as October 33rd or 35th or 47th.
Or October 100th.
Okay, Frankie, how do people find you on the internet?
If you want to follow me on social media, my blue skies at Frankie McD. My Twitter's now X is Frankie McD at Frankie McD. My Linktree is Frankie McDonald. My Facebook is Frankie McDonald. My Instagram is Frankie McD1994. My TikTok is Frank1994. My Blackbird is Frank1994. My Twitch is Frank1994. My Snapchat is Frank MECDON. My YouTube channel is Dog Wolves, and my LinkedIn is Frank. Best luck to you. I'm Frank. You listen to Comedeological Weather Report every Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Atlantic. Have a great day. That's the show.
That's the show. You've been listening to us on CFR 88.7 FM, CKUW 95.9, CFBX 925, and Rogers Television Outlets. I'm Joey Only, your host.
And say
Weather dude.
And angry St. Bernard barking at the mail and go, woo, 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 woo.
There you go.
That's the show.
That's the show.
That's the show.
That's the show, Shaggy.
That's the show.
That's the show, Raggy. There we go.
You have been corrected live on the internet. So, like millions of people, Mark, you saw the government experiment, in effect, create the Northern Lights illusion so that people can be convinced that there's climate change, so that the government can take your money because electric cars are part of the conspiracy to own your soul. And
You're right. You're right, actually, and in fact,
make you a libertarian, make you a liberal, and all this.
You're right. Even in my bank account here, I just got the fat check for pushing that agenda. It says here, HARP, climate change, whatever, in my bank account. No, I wish. If I was getting paid
You
for
get
that,
yours
you'd
from a
think
federal program. I get mine from the province of British Columbia.
That's funny.